So repos are at one of the all-time highs. So Brandon from Car Questions Answered did a great job covering all those repoed vehicles at the auction house. He very adequately did a great job pointing out that a lot of those are Dodge Chargers and Dodge Challengers.
Oh.
He thought he commented that, it's a lot of the toys that are getting repoed. I'd say it's a bit of a Dodge thing.
No, it's a toy too, I guess, because that's the kind of car that you want to buy, even if maybe you shouldn't, and
yeah, it's
borderline for your
often,
financial.
It's irresponsible people. I'm sorry, but in New Jersey, every year we almost die, and it's like, that Charger almost killed us. Oh, that Challenger almost killed us. And it's a joke. It's like, what colors of Challengers and Chargers will try to kill us this year? Because they're going...
But we're lucky. It's
200 miles per hour.
Often it's...
150 miles per hour.
A bright yellow or bright green. So we see it a lot. So
obviously, we're not telling stories here when we say the colors at the same time. But yeah, there are... really bad.
But it's flash, so we see it.
It's as ridiculous as Lily's obsession with licking my arm during these lives. So thank you for picking up on my cue, honey. But yeah, repos are up. Brandon from Car Questions Answered did a great job covering live at the auction houses, how there's so many of these now. I love data. So what I think is really interesting is why I felt like, hey, it's a Dodge thing, all these repos. Guess what the number one repossessed truck is? It's the F-150. F-150 is
because people
the number one repossessed. No, that is such a. I love that you said that because that is such a YouTube thumbnail response. F-150 prices have increased so much that they're the number one repossessed truck. I think that's going to be the thumbnail for this episode. And the fact is that it's the number one sold truck. So naturally, it is going to be the most. And it's good. Your brain worked on the natural, how we've evolved, an emotional response. You had the right evolutionary response to that. And that's what the thumbnails where people get paid $20,000 to, get a million views and say something that's wrong. Well, that's the type of thumbnail.
So I could start a channel because I know how to do it.
If you start a channel, I will cook and clean. I bet you'll make... $500,000 a year, and I'll just cook and clean for you, honey.
Yeah, with thumbnails like that, maybe I will do a good pay.
So the repo situation shows how bad things are, folks. Things are really bad, and we've got it by actual statistics here. We're going to talk about the main ones. So in December 2022, people being 60 days or more behind on their car payments hit 5.6%. So that doesn't mean they're repossessed yet. It means 1 out of 20 people, 1 out of 19 and a quarter people are in a position where they could get repossessed. So Marie's going to cover 6 tips on what you can do to not get repossessed, string them along. So if it kind of like being at the bar, if you take the free drinks because you saw them actually get made, maybe you can string them along, get free drinks, but make sure your girlfriends are good girlfriends, which usually ladies don't have good girlfriends. But make sure you're with good people that will take care of you and make sure that you get home safely. Now, the average monthly payment for a new car is up 26% since 2019 to $718 per month. Also why I've been so obsessed with the Ford Maverick. I think everyone needed to jump, and we all need a Ford Maverick. It makes sense. We can't have people having $50,000 a year jobs, and actually it's $43,000 a year is the U.S. average to be precise, is the U.S. average for salaries. But they have basically, almost $60,000 vehicles on average with $100,000 of student debt. Tom Dinder, I do need to start my cooking and cleaning show. If Marie starts a YouTube channel with her emotional responses and non-data driven analysis, she'll make millions of views per video.
You don't want to see him cook. It's a messy kitchen after that.
It's messy and it's a shirtless affair. So
maybe you will have a lot of views because
I don't think so. All my viewers are men, honey. It'll be horrible. So the average auto loan term will go from 12,400 subscribers to like 3. So the average auto loan term is 69.7 months for new cars and 68.1 months for used cars and 35.9 months for leased vehicles. So that's the average auto loan term, being 69 months is almost 6 years for new. Used also basically generally on average 6 years. And for leased vehicles, most people are either leasing 3 or 4 years, and that's why you get, well, they're leasing more towards the 3 years. GM does these 2-year promotions for leasing their trucks, but then at the end, they're way upside down. You don't want to buy that vehicle back, and you do not want to be trading it in early because you will lose out. My Lightning, what's great, it's worth so much less now. I've lost $38,000, but I'm on a lease. So at worst, I can hand the keys back to Ford, and if that thing is worth less than the buyback at the end, let's say it's worth $20,000 less than the buyback, that means I saved $20,000, because if I was on a purchase trying to trade in 4 years, means I'd lose $20,000. It also means I saved $20,000 in payments. I should have paid it more, but the depreciation was greater than the payments. That's why I love leasing. Also easier to get out of. So also repossession advice. If you're not quite making your terms on a lease and you've got a 4-year lease, but you're at maybe 3 years, well, the dealership might owe you money to buy out your lease. And if you're on an 84-month purchase, they'll be like, yeah, you want to return your vehicle? Give us $10,000 and you're clear. Or if they're really nasty, they'll say, oh, just give us the keys and your vehicle has been returned. That's going to basically count like a bankruptcy. You're not going to be able to get loans or credit cards for 7 years. Your life's ruined for 7 years. You got to build back up, but at a slower rate than when you're 18 years old, get out and with your first job. My first job, I was 13, but hey, we're not all built the same way. Now, we don't all have the same parents. My dad was born in the 40s. Auto loans average almost $42,000 for new vehicles. So the average auto loan being almost $42,000. That's a lot. That's why we need to get the prices down. We need to get Mavericks in people's yards. Honda Civics, if they can live with a Honda Civic. We need a bed and we need to be able to tow, like a lot of Americans and Canadians. Now, around 81.4 million individual American adults have a car loan. So that's because baby boomers are paying cash. Now, important to know here, car payments rose by 13.3% for new vehicles and 12.1% for leased vehicles just last year. Monthly average payments are over $700 now, and 1 in 6 buyers has a vehicle that's costing them more than $1,000 per month. My financial advice is, if you have a lot of money left over every month and you've put, money away into your retirement fund, or buying apartment buildings or houses that you can lease, and you have leftover money, have $1,000 payment. Why not? Why not go for it? But it can't be half of what you make, half of what you clear after taxes and healthcare at the end of the month. It's not good financially. You need to get yourself set up for the future. So in May 2021, people who were, subprime borrowers who are more than 60 days behind, so people with not the best credit, it was at a 7-year low. Only 2.58% people were down, and now it's gone way up. So cars are costing way more. We've covered that in the data here. About 5% of consumers who financed a car are now paying over $1,000 a month. That is wild. Wild. And please, if you're looking at a new or used vehicle that's more than 10%, don't buy it. Don't go for 10% interest. You're going to end up spending so much more. You're almost going to be paying that vehicle over twice if you pay that on 84 months. So let's get down to repossession statistics. Along with car loans increasing, repossessions have also increased. So car loans going up, repossessions going up, but repossessions are higher than they were in 2009. Repossession companies have shrunk by 30%, but that's just businesses are generally also getting bigger, fewer but bigger. cutting out the middle class out of a lot of business owning, which is unfortunate. Having a business is fantastic for wealth generation that you can pass on to generation. And well, Cox Automotive, they're predicting that in the long term through 2025, repossessions will remain at or below historical norms. So we're in an uptick right now, and the reason for that is we're going to see interest rates. The Federal Reserve, which I bagged on tonight, they're going to correct this. They're going to completely crash the economy for a very short period of time. Then they're going to want to come in and act like they're saving us all, even though they crashed the economy. They're going to act like they're saving us. Well, not at first, obviously. They're not going to show their cards, but they'll reduce interest rates. And then when the economy gets better, they're going to say, look, we got you through that other period. That was real bad in 21, 22. And, we saved us all from inflation by increasing interest rates, meaning they're just stealing our money legally. And then when they crash the economy, they're going to slowly bring the interest rates down when they should just drop them right down by 3% right off the bat and stop the bleeding. But they're going to slowly drop down the interest rates. And then after a 1.5 year period, they're going to go, hey, we fixed everything. Aren't you guys lucky to have us? I'd rather a free market and just let things naturally occur. But anyways, that's not how things work. You've got groups that give out the money, decide on the interest rates, destroy our economy, rebuild it, destroy the economy, rebuild it, because with all those ups and downs, they're making money. They're making money at the top, they're making money on the bottom. When you know when to sell your stocks, when they're worth a lot, and then you crash it 6 months later and you buy back, and then you have them slowly build up over a year and a half, and then you crash them over for a 6 month, 12-month period, and you just continuously buy and sell at the right time, you get to increase your wealth by 30% every year and a half. And that's the new norm. The new norm, we're not on a 10-year economic cycle because the wealthy got tired of only making a lot of money every 10 years from buying and selling. Well, now they're buying and selling on these peaks every roughly 12 months. 12 months, year and a half. So I expect a real crash in the next 6 months. And I'm talking about this because, well, car prices are going to go down in the used tremendously. House prices are going to go down and have been going down because the interest rates are too high. But watch out. This is going to get people to sell their homes. This is going to get people to sell their apartment buildings, which is a form of business. Their rental homes, their rental cottages, the apartments. Corporations are going to buy these up at $1. They're going to save the pennies on $1. They're going to save, they'll bring down the housing market by 20-30%. They're all going to buy at a great deal, these corporations. And then when the interest rates go down, the result is not only are they going to regain the 30%, that 20 to 30% that was lost, but they're going to get another 10 or 15 on top of that. So they're going to win on both ends. They're going to win at the top and they're going to win at the bottom. So right now, I'm looking at buying an apartment building or multi-doors because the prices are low. I'm going to survive 6 to 12 months of bad economy, bad stock values, really high interest rates. And then I expect things to be better by at worst 2 years from now. But I think in a 1.5 years, house prices will have re-exploded or be in the process at least of re-exploding. 12 months to a 1.5 years, incredible house values. Probably another 6 to max 12 months of house prices going down. So I want to share that with everyone. Now, Marie, what are your tips for avoiding getting repoed, whether your house gets repossessed or your car gets repossessed? Let your car get repossessed before you didn't hear it from me, but I would always pay my house and always pay my vehicle and avoid paying for things like restaurants, avoid paying for things like anything off Amazon, avoid paying my credit cards if I have to, avoid paying my phone bill if I have to. Phone bill starting to get more on the serious side, but I would make most of my car payments and most of my house payments, if I was in trouble, I would never want my house to be repossessed, and I never want my car to get repossessed, because they count as bankruptcies essentially. How it affects your credit score, it's just like you had a bankruptcy in regards to credit score. You're in real trouble for 7 years, but string them along. I'll let you get to the tips.
Perfect. So 6 ways to avoid a car repossession. So it will help you to keep your car. The first one is to review the term of your contract, especially check to see if your lender has an installment postponement, sorry for the word, policy. This could help you out and buy you sometimes. And we said you can also check the clause related to late payment penalty. It varies with each provinces, so you need to check that. And the second one, the best one, I guess, make the missed payment.
That's kind of an ideal situation.
If you pay, you will be able to continue after.
I like the negotiate your payment, because when you call them up and defer payments, well, that's great, because you've made a contract with them. So the effect on your credit score isn't nearly as bad. And more importantly, they're not going to repossess you if they've worked it out. They say, okay, well, for the next 12 months, make 1 out of 2 payments. Just an example. But if it's an agreement you made with them, they're not going to repossess you in the next 12 months. Guess what? They don't want to take your car back. Used car values, they know, are about to drop. They know they already have dropped. They know that maybe you bought your used or new vehicle at over the actual value. So maybe you bought your new vehicle $10,000 over MSRP, or you bought a used vehicle for 35-40% more than historic norms. These historic high prices are coming down. They dropped 4% from June to July. They don't want your vehicle back, but they're going to take it back if you don't talk with them. And most people get really surprised. Brandon in Car Questions answered. He said, at the auction house, a lot of these repossessed vehicles have full tanks of gas, which means the people didn't expect. And he's right. That means psychological level, they did not expect that vehicle to get repossessed. This isn't, okay, ignoring the bank is just like ignoring a boyfriend or a girlfriend. If you don't, but guys, our needs are different. We're more physical creatures. Anyways, I love communication. So let's not making any stereotypical assumptions here. But if you ignore your girlfriend or boyfriend, what's going to happen? It might be fine for a little bit, and then it's going to explode. Same thing for your bank. Ignore your bank, it's going to explode. They're going to come get the vehicle. They're going to be ticked off. Those are the people they go after. They don't go after the people that are trying to work things out. Say, oh, I can make this payment. Oh, hey, by the way, I can make this week's payment, and that other one of the 4 payments that I missed, I can go back and now make. But make an agreement with them. They might work out a new interest rate. They might work out a new payment. They might put it on longer payments so you pay less per month. They might say, we give you a break for 1 month, but then that's not always the greatest, because sometimes we get tempted to buy other stuff or go on a vacation or,
and it goes well with the third point, make temporary arrangements. So they said, if you know before that you will miss a payment in the future, call them, check with them if you can have an arrangement, change your date of payment. So it could be the best way, because then they have news from you. They know that you care to don't miss a payment, so it could help you. It's in your favor. So that one it's a good thing. The number 4, refinancing your loan. So if you miss a lot of payments, is it possible to refinance the loan? That's the only thing that you could check. The number 5, I don't love it that much. Try to do the first 4. 5 is the consumer proposal, so it's before a bankruptcy. It's less than that, but it's not the right way.
It's going to ruin for years. Everyone, a lot of the agencies that are going to take care of you are going to say, hey, look, they're going to act like superheroes. We're not going to do a bankruptcy. We're going to save you here. We're going to do a proposal, a consumer proposal. And guess what? Your credit is affected. I've seen the credit scores. They're affected just like a bankruptcy, and you're going to be affected for years to come just the same. So I really don't like that one. I think it's a big misconception, and to save you thousands, it's going to save you thousands, because avoiding that one, that's the one where your next loan, they're going to say, oh, your auto loan, sure, you're approved at 26%. So, and don't ever buy a vehicle at 26%. Take the bus, ride a bicycle.
Try something else before that.
Try anything.
And why buying? I see that often. Why buying a 30,000 car if you're not able to have a normal loan? Just go with a more simpler car, if I could say that. Check the priority; it will help you.
So the consumer proposal is awful, and a lot of poor people. Well, sorry, I'm sorry to use that term, but a lot of people who have low credit scores often feel like they need a BMW, or they need an Audi. A lot of people that have lower salaries feel like they need a luxury vehicle. It's not going to make you happier. It's only going to make you happier when you buy it in like the few weeks before you buy it, the few weeks after you own it. But the reality is, a luxury vehicle, if you're having trouble paying the house or the phone bills, or having trouble feeding the kids, who cares what other people think? And remember, millionaires might have fancy cars, but billionaires drive crappy cars. They drive 10-year-old cars. Really,
That's how they made the
really
money.
wealthy people don't have new cars. And often a lot of old wealth, they might have, a Mercedes. But often the Mercedes is like from the 1960s, and it's been in the family for the last, 60 some years.
Yeah, that's true. And the only thing positive that they say about the consumer proposal is that it could help you with other debt. So yeah, it will help you to
but it's going to ruin your credit. Yeah, it's going to help you get get things back on track.
Yeah, back on track.
It's a little bit better than a bankruptcy, but a lot of people do try other solutions, because a lot of people do a consumer proposal, then a year later they go to get an auto loan and they get told they're approved, but they're at like 26%, and often they don't even get told, and this is so wrong. They don't even get told they're at 26%. They just say, oh yeah, this used vehicle, we're going to lease it to you for 3 years, and it's going to cost you this much. And people go, oh, okay, and I have to impress the neighbors, I have to look good, and then they get that vehicle, but they're at 26 or 28%.
Yeah, because after you
refuse to do those.
Yeah.
I've had clients be like, please selling me a vehicle. I'm like, no, I'm going to have to do it it's going to be a 3-year lease, and I'm refusing to do that. And don't take a used vehicle on a 3-year lease. Don't touch anyone who offers you that. They're bad people. And almost all my clients end up getting that. And then usually within 6 months to a year later, they actually go through the contract, realize they're at 28%, and then they come back and take the time to actually say, you're a really good guy. Thank you so much for not selling me a vehicle. I'm never going to buy a vehicle from anyone else other than you. Because they realize me refusing to sell them a vehicle is me refusing one extra steak in my week. That would have bought me a steak. But that's, no. We got to take care of each other.
Yeah, totally. They said here the last step, the sixth one, is the car repossessed. So in case of bankruptcy, so yeah, you need to try the other thing before, because if you have a car repossessed, when I was a financial director at Toyota, we all ask people this question when we went to financing. Do you had a car repossessed before? And if the response is yes, you won't be able to have a car loan for a few years. So it could depend on the brand, how much year, but you said 7 years at the beginning of the life.
Bankruptcy, 7 years, maybe? Consumer proposal or car repossessed. Hey, maybe you get off on 5 years, but then maybe on that 5th year, you're on one of these used vehicles for a 3-year lease and often these vehicles don't even last the 3-year lease, but it's still the people's responsibility to fix the vehicle. They have to fix the vehicle during that 3-year lease. So I've seen people at 28% on, let's say, who cares what the manufacturer is? It's irrelevant. But a $38,000 like 2017 vehicle at $38,000 at 28%. for a 3-year lease. So what are they going to spend, like 60,000 during that lease? It's wild. It's ridiculous.
And for those who are wondering what's wrong with giving back the car, it's because the leaser.
Yeah.
The leaser has less trust in you. He said, okay, he doesn't know how to budget. I don't want to give him another car, financing it, and maybe
that's
payment.
That's how it's seen. So a lot of people sometimes will think, oh, well, my dealer has given me really bad service, or my vehicle has had to have all sorts of repairs. I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous. You know what? Take this whatever company. Take this Mercedes. I'm leaving the keys here. Now it's your problem. I'm not paying it anymore. And people think that they've somehow done something really bad to either the dealer or the manufacturer. Folks, the dealer doesn't care. The manufacturer doesn't care, because the only thing that's happened is now we could call it like a mini bankruptcy. When you give back the car, it's like a mini bankruptcy. You've ruined your credit for 7 years. Any next loan you take is going to be at a ridiculously high interest rate, and the only one who's in trouble is you, because it's not hurting the manufacturer. So that's tips to help you avoid a repossession, and tips in case you're behind on payments, so that you can just kind of string things, and it's okay. You string things along, maybe for a year, maybe 2 years, calling, working it out, maybe making, a payment, 3 payments, then missing one. But if it's planned, it hurts you a lot less. They don't come repossess the vehicle. And then maybe 2 years later, a year and a half later, things are going a lot better. When I had just hurt my back, I got out of the army. I had just hurt my back, and I missed phone payments. And no one had given me, the education system hadn't given me knowledge on the importance of having good credit, so that I could buy properties and have, passive income. But I missed phone payments, and because I was out of a job and I had hurt my back. And I was, working sometimes for free for people, working on a farm for free. And I didn't see how it was a big deal. I was like, well, I'll pay them eventually. If I clear what I owe after 6 months, I won't pay it for 6 months, but then, I'll clear it in 6 months when I work in the summer. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I ruined my credit, and it slowed me down. It, removed about 7 years of wealth building in my life, and it really set me back. So I want to help people out, even here to share embarrassing stories. But thankfully, I actually had a furniture store hire me, because they're like, oh, you hurt your back and you're in the army. Okay, you're a good guy. So they hired me up. So the Brick did a good thing in hiring me. They really did good by me. And then, the university hired me, and I got to help run the residences. So that's my story, folks.